Welcome back to another episode of the St. Louis Parish Podcast. Today, joining me is Seminarian John Mullin. John, it's great to have you back on the show.
Great to be back.
John, we're here to talk about something real important. We are talking about the Diocesan Work Camp. I know you recently attended in a couple different capacities, so I was wondering if you could maybe just regale your experience at Work Camp.
Yeah, this was my first time at Work Camp. So I never went as a camper, and this is my first time volunteering. So I was kind of opened up into a whole new world of what youth ministry looks like in the diocese, which was beautiful. So Work Camp is this program, if some of the viewers don't know, is a program hosted by the diocese at a site somewhere in the diocese, and it changes every few years. This time we were out in Quicksburg, which is in the Shenandoah area.
Okay.
We were all staying at Stonewall Jackson High School. So we've had about 500 to 600 campers, so teenagers, that were there to encounter the Lord in community, specifically through community service. So all of the teens were helping out on projects, anywhere from helping with door installation, window installation, roofing, wheelchair ramps, building a deck, any kind of big substantial project that the resident desired to be done. These campers had prepared for months beforehand.
Yeah.
Not knowing which project they were going to do, but knowing that they were going to be giving of themselves for a full week. So the week was full of doing the projects, but also encountering the Lord in prayer.
Yeah.
So we would start each day with daily mass, and then we would all get off into our vans and drive to our work sites for most of the day until around 4:00. We'd come back to the high school, and we'd have dinner and then some evening programming.
Very nice. Yeah. John, have you heard of the term voluntourism?
I have. Yes.
Okay. I bring this up. I bring this up because I never attended work camp as a teen, but I did go on mission trips to the Dominican Republic. And voluntourism, for people who don't know, is kind of a critique of this international mission trip kind of experience. I believe the argument against this mission trip is that maybe all of the funds that you spend in travel, you could maybe donate to a more effective cause, let's say. Now, I understand the pros and cons, but the reason I'm bringing that up is that Work Camp is right here in our backyard, so you can make a really big impact here. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because when I was in the Dominican Republic, the native Dominicans were just much better suited physically to work the land than myself and a group of American teens. Just to put it plainly, we had soft hands, and the Dominicans they have very calloused hands, and they can work the dirt. The dirt is. You've been before, correct?
Yes.
So were you in Bonica?
I was. Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
So yes, the dirt is hard. It's like this thick clay, and it's like layered with lots of rock, and it's really brutal. So one of the main projects, for people who don't know, is you go and you build an outhouse, and the main part of that project is you got to build a 6-foot deep hole.
Yeah.
Which is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
And I remember every time, we'd take turns with the pickaxe, and we'd get maybe like a couple inches, and then after the Americans in the crew had their turn, one of the Dominican kind of adult crew leaders would hop in, and he would just go to town. And it felt like every time he went in, he made like a foot of progress.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I bring that up because you don't have to travel to these foreign countries to feel like you're making an impact or encounter Christ. You can do that at home here, and in some ways is more effective, right? Because this is your home. This is your community. So, John, what were some really nice or maybe standout moments for you that you saw, maybe encountering with the teens or maybe some other adults?
Yeah. One of the greatest things I got to experience over Work Camp was a detachment from the normal, regular life that teens are invited in or really just saturated in. And what I'm talking about is like internet, phone usage, just this digital space that most kids have grown up with. And at Work Camp, no one has their cell phone. No one is online looking at sports scores or online shopping. None of that is even a possibility. So we get to see in the kids what their heart really yearns for, or what they're talking about with their friends, things that really matter to them that they can't distract themselves with, or they can't look onto their phone trying to numb themselves. So when they come into work camp, these desires of the heart really start to become more unlocked, and they get to really examine and look in on themselves what they really thirst for. And there's this cool definition in the Catechism of what prayer is. So I think it's paragraph 2560. It says that prayer is the encounter of God's thirst with ours. Really powerful. Wow. And we see that at work camp, engaging in true prayer, because the kids are starting to understand their thirst. Yeah. Like, what do I want? What do I think will satisfy? And suddenly they're stripped of these things that they've filled their entire life with. Like, I've struggled with the same things of like filling my life with digital media and thinking this will satisfy. And when that's stripped away and they're placed into community, maybe uncomfortable, maybe this is the first time they're away from home, like for a full week with kids they don't know, as well as each crew is composed of kids not from the same parish. So these kids most likely didn't know any of each other going in. So a beautiful thing I saw was how these campers were able to engage in community in such a way that was able to be very Christocentric. So we got to see how Christ was the center of conversation, was the center of one's day, and that this wasn't appalling or weird or objectionable. Like this was very inviting, welcoming, and very normal. Like this is what true life should look like. And these kids were loving it as well. There's that, first little step out of, okay, what is this? Wide-eyed, what's going on? I've never experienced this before. Like what a true Catholic community looks like. So being able to see that in the kids and how they welcomed that, and then also their desires in our conversations to bring that back home, to not suddenly have this retreat high of, I want to live this out, and then not have any support when they're back home. Yeah. So seeing that and enabling them and empowering them to continue to live that out, whether that's daily prayer, doing community service, having these meaningful, faithful conversations.
Right. And what's really great from your perspective is you kind of got to watch the evolution happen in real time. And have you heard when people say, like, let's say if you're battling some kind of addiction, you can't just take something away, you have to replace it with something. Because, and I think Work Camp does an excellent job of this, right? They take their phones at the beginning of the week. Yeah. So you can't really just do, what is it? Like that reflexive kind of checking your phone. You have a couple seconds. Oh, let me just check, and you just reach in. Like, so that's gone. But they offer you an alternative, right? You're not locked in a room by yourself with nothing. You're in community. And so it's like, okay, well, I can't do this thing on my phone. I guess I have to engage with what's being presented to me, which is, hey, people my age. Oh, I can engage in prayer for the first time. And yeah, like you said, empowering them to bring some of that home, right? Because they won't be able to live in a school with 600 other teens for the rest of their life. As cool as that would be. I mean, I guess college it's kind of like a big, long sleepover with all your best friends. But apart from that, empowering them to take something from work camp that, gave them the sense of being truly present and then maybe truly connected to Christ for the first time in their lives.
Yeah. And I think going back to your DR experience, seeing that we have that cliche moment of we think we're going to do the best good for them. Yeah. But then, by the end of the week, you're like, wow, they did so much for me.
Totally.
In, a very practical sense, they could have done it maybe a lot better. I mean, I'm looking at the contractors sometimes, and they could hammer a nail in one stroke, like one swing. Oh, yeah. And these kids are going all over the place. But, it's getting done. And you see within the kids that the good being done to them is more important than the good that they are contributing to, however good that is. Like, it's awesome to be able to do these projects, but they're seeing the true poverty. They're seeing the true poverty of someone not being known, not being seen, not being loved. Maybe some of the people, the residents that they're working for, don't have a strong community, or maybe they're looking for that community and don't know where to turn. They don't have great examples of that. So for these campers to be that light, to be that example of the gospel, and realize that they don't have to be that just with these residents they work with, but to each other.
Yeah.
Like each lunch break during work camp, there's a devotional set of questions that we go through. Very experience based of like, what's this like for you? How are you encountering like this day? Like what's standing out to you? And then being guided by the themes. So having confession later that day, questions are about confession. Hey, do you know what this is? What's your experience been like with this in the past? And what do you hope to experience tonight if you go to confession?
Yeah.
So a lot of these deeper conversions, right? This type of metanoia, Bishop Barron talks about it so much of this turning away that it's not exact. That's not really reflexive of, I'm just gonna turn away from what I normally do. Like, no, that's hard. Like change your gaze from one thing to the next and focus on this. So this change away from maybe navel gazing just on myself or on what I want and my passions and my own pursuits too. Oh, let me see the beauty of the other person, the other camper, the resident that I'm working with, and no longer have to have this notion of like whipping out your phone in this holster, right? Of like, I'm going to defend myself, so I'm going to whip out my phone.
Wow.
But now you don't have that phone. Like, oh, okay, what do I turn to? But realizing you are safe in your identity as a child of God, as a son, as a daughter, and being confident in that. So then instead of, trying to whip out your phone that you're afraid, but you get to enter into vulnerability in a very safe way. But being first, having that priority of sharing your true self with God and letting him tell you who you are, and then being able to be confident to go out into your community of other campers, of the residents, of the adult crew leaders. Maybe you're intimidated by them or intimidated by the adults in your life, but you're confident in who the Lord says that you are.
It really is a genius tactic on the part of the diocese to market this as a work camp, because trying to explain all that to your team, hey, you might not be able to finish that thought. But if you just tell them, hey, you're going to build a new deck, you're going to tear it down and build a brand new one. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all these other things are happening. And like you said, you don't fully realize all the work that's being done on you. You think you're going to go and make an impact, which I think we all love, right? I know someone told me, oh, I really like mowing the lawn, or I like vacuuming because I can see the end product. Right? It feels really good at the end. Mowing the lawn isn't always the best. It's usually pretty hot, and it's kind of one of the tougher chores. But it's nice to see, neat to see that completed project. So I wonder too if it's very male to want to go work on things, use tools. But the girls did, in my experience, the girls did just as much, or some were even more willing. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, I think by design, Work Camp does a great job of pulling them out of their comfort zone for the better, and kind of holding their hand insofar as they give them the guidelines. They give them like the bowling alley bumpers. And they say like, okay, we're going to take your phone, but we're not just going to leave you hanging. We're not going to leave you high and dry. We're going to provide you with the source of truth, the thing that you're really after, that maybe the phone has been kind of masking. Because usually it's not a conscious decision like, oh, I'm having a thought that I don't want to think, let me go on Instagram. It kind of becomes just like a reflex. Oh, I'm a little bit bored, I'll check. But sometimes it's okay to be bored. And Work Camp does a good job of not letting you be bored for too long. You're usually occupied with something, and those things are really good. Their community, their prayer, their good hard work. And at the end of the day, I think you feel very fulfilled in all senses.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a great image of that as well is seeing Christ as the good shepherd, and being able to see yourself also as a sheep. Like you want to be led. You want to have this experience in community amongst your peers of you're not alone. Like you are one sheep among many. Yeah. And that the Lord will run after that lost sheep. So if you're like not in that right headspace, you're like not feeling like you're the perfect Catholic. Like Work Camp had been a great experience for everybody in all walks of faith, in terms of you might have some high schooler that goes to daily mass, serves all the time, has all these crazy devotions, like awesome devotions. But then it does the same for them as it does for somebody who's very new to their faith, that doesn't really go to Mass on Sundays, that doesn't have faithful conversations with their parents at home. But Work Camp provides the opportunity for all of them to experience the Lord in their own unique way and then bring that back home, whatever that looks like. Everyone is able to take something away from it.
If I had to give Work Camp an adjective, I would say it's authentic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Know?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that the teens and the adults, I think everyone that's a part of Work Camp feels that authenticity, and they can bring that back.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they won't get all like the bells and whistles of Work Camp, like the beautiful programming and the cool jobs, but they can bring that authenticity back.
Yeah. There's something about being in a van after a long day of work and like super hot temperatures and you haven't taken a shower yet and everybody just stinks.
Yep.
Like, there's just like just a smell that just permeates. But everyone's like, well, we're in the same boat and we're all in this together, right? You're really smelling like the sheep, you know, like the shepherd knows what the sheep smell like and still is with them. So like Jesus is still able to be with you. The crew leaders, you know, we're still with you. We're still driving you to and from the sites, having these conversations with you. So there's never a sense of too far gone, too uncomfortable. I'm not diving in anymore. Yeah. But you get to see everybody's authentic self. You're living, you know, with them. You're sleeping on the floor in a classroom in a sleeping bag. Like that's not exactly a daily occurrence for most people.
No.
And you're just waking up as you are and you're living your entire life together for that week. Yeah. So you're having meals together. Again, you're sleeping like in the same room and like on all your different bunks and you're going to programming together, but you see the fullness of what life in community is meant to look like. Like we're not meant to be isolated and have our own experience, but no, we're meant to encounter the Lord together. Yeah. And there's something very beautiful about that we can even bring back to our church, like to St. Louis, at Mass, that it isn't an isolated incident, but it is a experience in prayer at Mass, very individual. Like your relationship with your Lord is personal and it should be that way. Right. But we also encounter him as a community. That's why Mass isn't like sign up one-on-one slot, you know, for Mass just with you and the priest. No, it's meant for everybody to experience together. Like the unison of your singing, whether you have a great voice or not. Like you hear that at Work Camp too, you know, like everyone comes in with their own attributes, their own strengths, weaknesses, and it's okay. Like we all encounter the Lord. Yeah.
John, for anybody maybe on the fence for next year, teen or adult, do you have any words of encouragement for them if they're thinking about signing up for Work Camp next year?
Yeah, I'd say for one, like just give it a shot, but don't be afraid to go all in. Like don't be afraid to be uncomfortable as well, because you will encounter that. And just to give it a shot. I really wish I went as a high schooler. I never went.
Same.
Yeah, but to see the beauty coming back as an adult crew leader of, man, I wish I had encountered that, and wow, the bravery and confidence of these kids. Maybe their parents made them do it. I don't know, but they entered in. Like they entered into the community and just gave of themselves throughout the week. So that's an invitation I'd make to people that are thinking about Work Camp, but really also young adults in their life, is just be bold, be confident, and asking the Lord exactly what you desire out of this experience. So always maintaining that contact with the Lord and not trying to just give of yourself from an empty reservoir. There's this great analogy St. Catherine of Siena makes of, we're called not to be channels, but we're called to be reservoirs. So whatever we receive from the Lord, we're not just called, all right, just ship it out, give it to the next person, pass it forward. But no, we're supposed to be reservoirs of grace. So we're supposed to be filled up by the Lord, and then from that excess, that overflowing, we reach other people. And how many people we could reach, but you're always filled up.
You're always full.
Yeah. So invitation to the kids or just campers, adults, whoever's listening, to dive into and be bold with the Lord in prayer. Allow him to fill you up, and then your experience will flow outside of that.
Beautiful. John, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's
Absolutely.
a blast.